We're at Zamora Bros, and I'm Mariah Castañeda, and this here is...
Raquel Zamora.
So you're doing something really special. Can you tell me what you're doing?
Yes, I'm running for office. I'm running for Los Angeles Council District 14, which encompasses downtown Boyle Heights, El Sereno, Highland Park, and Eagle Rock.
So tell me, why are you running for city council?
I'm running for city council because I'm tired of career politicians abusing this particular seat. There's a lot of self-interest that comes with career politicians who run for this seat, and also there's, they use it as springboard for a higher office, and, the constituents of this district are the ones that suffer because we don't get the services that we need.
So let's talk a little bit more about those services. Can you tell me about the issues that District 14 needs?
There's many needs in the district, and every one of the communities is very, very different, but particularly here in Boyle Heights, one of our biggest issues here is displacement, with housing affordability and displacement being like a lot of our folks are being displaced and pushed out of their places. Our mariachis, our single moms, our seniors that can't no longer afford our rent. So, it's the identity of our community. A lot of these people.
So gentrification.
Absolutely.
And homelessness when the rents get too high.
Right. There's, throughout the district, there's a lot of homeless. Skid Row is in CD 14, so it's actually, the epicenter of the homeless crisis. And as a social worker that works directly with homeless students inside the school, I definitely do have a plan to address the homeless crisis with a social work perspective and really identifying, having an assessment, not a study, but an assessment of what is the root cause for someone being homeless. So I want to put faces to names. And have categories like if it's a housing crisis, if it's a mental health issue, if it's substance abuse, we'll have different interventions in every level and then have measurable outcomes, but have a comprehensive plan over the span of years.
So can you tell me a bit about environmental injustice and environmental racism here in Boyle Heights and how that affects your district?
Absolutely. So particularly here in Boyle Heights, we've had a history of environmental injustice. For example, all the freeways were built in this community. We have the 5, the 101, the 10, the 60. They have all crossed here. All the freeways were displaced. A lot of people lost their homes to build the freeways, and the freeways were built very close to schools. So in our community, we have more children that suffer from asthma per square mile and bloody noses because of all of the emissions that our children breathe and all of us breathe. So that is the history. Right now, there's actually a Verizon tower being built at El Casa del Mexicano, and that's right now. So, we have the history of the Exide plant in which, the residents that live very close to the Exide plant are suffering from cancer, had died from cancer. So there's definitely been a lot of environmental injustice in our communities, and, particularly here in Boyle Heights. And this is one of the platforms of why I'm running for office.
Awesome. Tell me about Zamora Bros and how, maybe your work here has inspired you to run.
Absolutely. Well, my grandfather opened up Zamora Brothers here in Boyle Heights in 1970, so we've been in business for 50 years. My family this is the family trade, so it's 6 generations of carniceros making carnitas and chicharrones. His father taught him and grandfather, so when he came to the United States from Guanajuato, he actually used to work at the meat companies in Vernon, and he saved enough money to open up his own business. And as soon as he opened, it was a very huge success, and I started working here at the age of 7, so I learned how to earn an honest dollar and work ethic, and definitely, language. I learned Spanish, dance, and really just the issues that are happening in our community. A lot of our customers, because I used to work at a very young age, there's, women that would come in and have, 4 or 5 kids and buy just basic needs, which means like eggs and milk. And, I remember in one instance, one of the mothers came with her children, and they didn't have enough money for pan dulce. So I remember she took out her food stamps, and at that time there were like little booklets, and she's like, I don't have enough. And I said, don't worry about it, let me just give it to you, you know. And that very early on taught me that there was a lot of inequality and unfairness. So, you know, I worked really hard to give back to my community, educate our youth. I became a teacher, social worker, and I've always given back to my community.
And you're going to continue to do that when
Absolutely,
you're ready.
absolutely. And I really feel like, you know, if a person like me does not run for office and actually is at the decision-making table, you know, with policies that affect our community, then there'll never be change. So that's why we really have to, you know, slam that door right open to get in there and make policy changes.
Awesome. I also want to know more about you as a teacher, and then how you experienced those issues that you just talked about firsthand.
Absolutely. So I started teaching at LAUSD through the adult division. I did credit recovery classes for high school students, ESL classes for adult students, and citizenship classes. But particularly with my high school students, when I was teaching at Roosevelt, you know, they would come and take government or economics with me because they had failed it, and they were taking it to try to graduate. And I would say, you're so smart, why did you not pass this class? And, you know, a lot of my students used to tell me what was happening outside of the home, like their parents got deported, there would be, you know, evictions going on, domestic violence in the home. So when I got laid off in 2008, I know I needed a plan B, and instead of getting a master's in education, I went back and I got a master's in social work to do mental health therapy to help my students outside of the classroom.
And then because you saw these issues firsthand, you're able to understand your community better than maybe someone that took poli-sci and was just been going up the political ladder their entire life.
Right. So my lens is very unique in that, you know, I've been a teacher in the classroom, a social worker, providing, you know, therapy for victims of crime throughout the city. So that really does give me a different lens. So when I was doing therapy for victims of crime, I would be inside the home for 30 to 40 weeks, and the crimes were, you know, sexual abuse, domestic violence, or murder cases. So I used to go to some homes, and I used to notice that there was 2 families living in a home. So even like privacy to talk about, you know, the trauma, we would sit in the porch or sit in the car or the sidewalk and do art therapy, for example. But you really got to see firsthand, you know, how our families were hurting. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can you tell me about your favorite taco?
Carnitas. I love our carnitas. You know, that's really our specialty here at our family restaurant. It's what we're most famous for. But we have today tacos de carnitas and tacos de chicharrón. So.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's try them.
Let's try them.
It's okay. Oh my God. That chicharrón is amazing.
Yeah, they're quite good. Is that it?
Mm-hmm. That's it. We're done.